Hey everyone, Leland Bartlett with Brickboard Training and Consulting. In today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to be showing you how it works all together from beginning to end. We have those customers, customer locations, orders, and order info, and we're going to show you how we put that all together. Not how we put together, but how it works all together. In the next video, we'll get into the technical aspects of how we got it to function that way. So come along with me. Alright, you guys, in the last few videos, we've been looking at how to take this 10,000 row worksheet and 21 columns and turn it into a manageable database so that we can control the data and find it and use it much easier. So we did. We transferred that into Access. And there it is. And what we did is we created 4 main tables. We had a customer list, our customers, the locations that they order from, the info related to that, the order date, shipping information, and then the actual products that they ordered and the total of those things. And we were working on creating custom numbers for each one of these, and as I was going through, I ran into some issues in here, and so I worked through them and came up with a full functioning process, and I wanted to share that with you now. And then in the next video I'll show you what I did to get to here if you'd be so interested. And so what I did is I started off with our customer. We pulled that up and noticed a nice background in here, and I have just the customer and their locations, and I created a drop box up here, which is a search, so I can either cruise through it and pick a customer and the related information shows up, so it doesn't matter which one I pick, they show up. I can type in there if I'd like to. For example, I can find myself, since I know that's in there, and those are the locations associated with me. So I can randomly just come in and pick a customer, and I can say, hey, what orders do they have in the Mobile, Alabama, and click display orders. Now I want you to notice too is that I have redundant information in here so we can visibly link the information together. For example, there's the customer number 1452. Come back over here, that's the location is 1452. Here's the customer number 17425. We can see that. So we come over here, here's the location 1452 with Mark, and he has a notice that here's the location here, it goes with the location there, and then he has an order associated with that. So let's look at the details of that. Notice the order number is 133711, and so we'll look at that, and there's order number 133711, and then there's the data associated with this order. And I put in a couple calculations in here, just the individual item count, and then of course the total dollar value of the sale, just for convenience, and we did that. So now let's go back and take a look so we can look at things. We also can add things, so we can come in and Mark Dominguez calls and he says, hey, I have a new location, and I click right into the cell and it creates a new location for me. Type in a new location, and let's just call it I don't know, Clyde Park, and he says it's in Montana, and the zip code for there is 59018. I know that because I looked it up. And then that's in, I think it's in the central, but again, I did this before, I hit that equal sign before I'm ready. Notice it created an automatic one once it entered. So I want to add an order for Clyde Park. So we're going to say display order. And there we are. There's Clyde Park, brand new, Montana 59018. And then I also created a default so that it would automatically put in today's date. And then I have like about a 7-day queue for the order to be filled. It's Clyde Park. And also have it default to the standard class. Of course, I can pick any of the others, but just because that's the that's just the typical, saves a little bit of data entry. And then I can come over and say display order. There's the order number. It happened today. We're going to ship it. It's Clyde Park, standard class. It's all there. Then I can start typing in my items. And I don't have the prices in there yet, but we'll put those in there soon. And then see how it automatically created the row ID. I don't have to mess with that anymore. That's all taken care of. I don't have to worry about product IDs. I just type in the name of the product, and And notice how it automatically calculates the number of items, or the item count, total number of items, and the total for the order. So it's working there in that particular case. But what if I got a brand new customers? And so let's go back to our customers and say I got a brand new customer. What do? Well, I don't have a button for it on the form yet, but I'm going to use its default new blank record. And we can come in here and create a new record. Now this doesn't do anything up here unless you go in and you exit out of it, and that's what triggers the search. So we can go ahead and keep that there. I don't have it blanking out to null. And so let's type in this person's name. It's Jaden. Now watch what happens. We automatically have a customer ID generated for us with initials and a unique number. And let's say they're going to be corporate. And we got a location ID automatically generated for us, and it's going to be in Hawaii, and 96850. I'm thinking this is the West, right? So we go up here and then we say he wants to order some stuff. So we can go ahead and click. Notice that I'm in the ID. If I go down here, it will take this one and we'll have the wrong information. So we're going to click here, and now we're into the order. Pretty much don't have to put anything in here. We're just generating it for record keeping, and then we can say, okay, I want to actually put in an order. And remember, it's 200-780 there. There it is, 200-7801. I need to widen that column a little bit, and we can type in our information. And but just type in some information here to generate some sort of sales information. And there we go. So we're able to go through the whole entire system pretty quickly. We don't have to worry about our data entry, our numbers, or anything like that, and it's controlled. And so really, we've got a much better working data collection device rather than an Excel worksheet where we're just putting that data in and it's getting longer and longer and it gets more and more cumbersome. We can just work with individual items. I just want to throw this in at the end here. We just put in the customer, Jaden Ollenberger. So is that information actually in there? So I wanted just to go through and verify that we have that data. There's Jaden, there's Gilligan's Island. Click in there, order info. There's the order info. We have a number because we generated a sale from that. And then we're going to say display the information, and there's our products and our total and everything that we chose to do with that. So it does in fact work, and it holds the data. I just wanted to verify that. I thought that about that at the very end, that we didn't verify that it's in the system and we can access it quite easily. Hey everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed the process and saw how it worked. In the next video, we're going to get into the technical aspects, and we'll talk about some of the issues that I ran into. So if you're a VBA person and you understand Access a lot better than I do, sure appreciate you giving me some feedback of how to improve and how to do things correctly, but simply. It's really got to be simply, because I've looked up some things online, and it's a very complex answer to what I seem to be a very simple question. And I understand that from I guess a best practices is that you want to do those things, but I'm looking at this from an entrepreneur, an individual person that's doing it themselves, and they're going to just want to get practical solutions going. But anyway, I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, we'll see you.